The ARCA Racing Series getting ready for the 8th race of the 2011 season. It's the 30th time they will race at Michigan International Speedway. It's the Michigan ARCA 200 here on Speed. Hello, everyone. We've got Hall of Famer Darrell Waltrip with us. Phil Parsons, I'm Rick Allen to call the 8th race of the ARCA Racing Series 2011 season. Now, this one, obviously, when we come to Michigan, it's got a little more for these drivers because of the hometown of the ARCA Series.
Yeah, well, Toledo's 57 miles from here. That's the home base for ARCA. And quite honestly, this series, it's the vision that John Markham, the founder of ARCA, had. A strong field of cars, developing young drivers. I think that what John put in place years ago is starting to pay fruit now, Phil. It's really it's a great series.
And DW, you talk about the strong field of cars. We've got 2 RCR cars and their dominance this year. 4 wins already in the 7 races. But we have so many other cars. The Venturini cars are very strong. And we have some extra cars here. Cale Gale, our pole sitter, is in a Kevin Harvick car. And we've got Casey Roderick here in a James Phoenix construction car. So we've got a tremendous field of cars here. You can see the RCR domination right there. 7 starts this year, and they've won 4 of them. But there's a lot of hard work goes into that. That's a great team, obviously, but a lot of hard work and a lot of young crew chiefs and young crew members getting their start in the series.
Some hungry hounds back in there, buddy, I'm telling you.
That's right. One of those young RCR drivers is standing by with Ray Dunlap. Right?
Well, guys, he's actually climbing into the car, and, you know, all this preparation gets ready to go. But I'll tell you, when you look at the season that they've started off with here on the 41 team, absolutely unbelievable. Ty, you've gotten 3 wins this year, all on very different racetracks. Tell me about your outlook for today here at Michigan.
I'm really excited for the race. You know, we have a really fast SKS Chevy. The guys did an awesome job building it. It's a different car that we brought from the test, and just excited to get this race going. It's really fast, so we'll see what she brings us.
What have you learned about Michigan Speedway so far from your time on the track?
It's a fast track, and I love it, and it reminds me a lot of dirt racing. That's where I grew up racing, so that's what we'll do.
All right, good luck to you. He will roll off second. Let's hear from the pole sitter, Bob Dillner, standing by there.
Cale Gale, a 2-time Snowball Derby pole sitter, now a 2-time pole sitter in ARCA, but the 26-year-old has another goal in mind. What is that goal today, Cale?
We're just going to go out here with Irene Chevrolet and do the best we can. Ty's been pretty tough all year, so he's the car to beat. There's a lot of other tough cars. Max Gresham's in the field today. I feel like our car's pretty good. We were a little tight yesterday, but we got it freed up, and I feel like we should be good for tonight. I just want to give a shout-out to my grandfather just watching back in Mobile. He's not doing too well, but I hope he gets better soon, and I'm going to give it all I got this afternoon.
Our thoughts and prayers are with your grandfather, but the question is, going into this one, how to keep that 41 car behind you.
Hopefully, you know, it's a 200-mile race. We got a couple of pit stops. We'll go out here and see what we got on the first run. Kevin and Delana Harvick's built me a great race car. All the guys have been working hard all weekend. Ty will be tough. Crew chief for him last year, and now I'm racing against him today, so it ought to be a lot of fun.
Cale Gale is your Menards pole sitter, presented by Ansel. Ray?
You know, Bob, after watching practice here at the Michigan Speedway, I thought for sure we were going to see the 25 car on the pole. And you heard Cale Gale mention Max Gresham. This race car that Max is driving this weekend has been very, very successful. A year ago, it went to victory lane right here at this particular racetrack with Mikey Kyle driving. It's also been to victory lane with Joey Logano and Scott Lagasse. So they know at Venturini Motorsports they've got great equipment. And this young driver has certainly shown that he is a wheelman. It'll be interesting to see how long it takes for this car to get to the front. Guys?
Thanks, Ray. They're all strapping in. That means the next thing that will happen is we will fire the engines. The crowd has already been able to watch nationwide practice, cup practice, and now they're set for 100 laps of ARCA racing. Welcome back to Brooklyn, Michigan, and the Michigan International Speedway. DW, I know you've had some success around this area.
Yeah, I've always loved this racetrack. Of course, right now, it's, you know, they're going to repave this thing after the August race here, and it needs it. It's gotten kind of bumpy, and that gives it character, as these drivers like to say.
I guess as a Hall of Fame driver, you've had success all across America.
Oh,
so.
Rick.
Let's get the engines fired. We go for the command.
Race fans, it is time to welcome back your Grand Marshal, the CEO of Rainwater Eater Wiper Blades, Jeff Parnell, with the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
ARCA cars all coming to life. A heartfelt command there, getting the engines fired. We'll be back for the green flag here on Speed. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Burger King, home of the Whopper, and by Menards. Save big money at Menards. Started off as a very sunny day here in Brooklyn, Michigan. The Michigan International Speedway. Earlier today, qualifying took place for the ARCA Racing Series. Now, a little bit overcast and cloudy skies as the temperature is peaked at 82 degrees with just 5-mile-an-hour winds as we're getting ready for the cars to roll out onto the racetrack. Now, let's talk a little bit about the weather and how that will affect the way this race is run.
As you mentioned, it's a little bit overcast right now, and the track temperature is actually going to be lower than it was when these guys qualified earlier today at about 10 o'clock this morning. So they're going to have a great racetrack here. And as Darrell was talking about earlier, this racetrack is really, really rough, and you're going to fight for grip. And Darrell, that means that with a cooler racetrack, they're going to go all over this thing.
Well, you can run right up next to the wall. That's where the best grip is. Matter of fact, that's where it's the smoothest, right up next to the wall. So we'll see guys move all around. But if I'm handling good and I'm trying to put a move on somebody, I'm going to the bottom. I'm going to be a bottom feeder.
It's the shortest way around.
It's the shortest way around. It's the quickest way around, but it is the hardest way around, too.
And we've got a very impressive field here today. I mean, there are some very talented drivers and some really good equipment. We talked about a little bit with Cale Gale. We've got Joey Coulter that's in the field. It's going to be very strong. Is there a favorite that jumps out at you early on in this one?
Well, Max Gresham is, I wouldn't say he's a favorite, but he's another young kid. These are names we're going to hear about. Used to, they called it the ABC, the ARCA, Busch, and Cup. That was kind of the steps that you want to take. Now it's ARCA, Nationwide, and Cup, obviously, but this is a proving ground right here. And every Cup owner in the garage is up on the truck watching these young men compete today.
Let's take a look at our starting grid of the cars that are on the racetrack. The guy who won the pole is Cale Gale in the number 33. And outside of him, Ty Dillon, who's had the most success this year in the ARCA Racing Series.
And remember, in the ARCA Racing Series, they give points for qualifying. Ty Dillon will get 10 more points to add to his lead by his second-place qualifying effort.
Casey Roderick in the number 51 will start in the 5th position. Josh Richards in the 15th. Also another car that will be very strong today.
You guys saw Grisham run there the other night over at Grisham Motorsport Park.
That's right. Yeah, won that race, the K&N Pro Series East Division. Absolutely. There's Tim George, won last week at Pocono in that fog-shortened race. And in 10th, how about Joey Coulter?
That win got him a sponsor for the rest of the year, too, Tim George.
Let's see if we can check in and talk to Joey Coulter. He started in the 10th spot. Hey, Joey Coulter, Phil Parsons in the speed booth. You have a copy?
I got you. Go ahead.
Joey, you're coming off a great start to the Camping World Trucks season. You've had 2 top 5s in a row at Texas and Kansas. How about here? Are you just having a little bit of fun this weekend?
Always trying to have some fun, but, you know, got this great deal with Ripon for a few years. This is one of the races they wanted to go to. We got a bunch of people from Ripon and National Beverage out here with us, so we just want to put on a good show for them.
As I mentioned, you've done a great job in this series for the last couple of years. You had 2 top 10 finishes in the points, and right now you're in the top 10 in the Camping World Truck Series points. Go out there and have some fun and give us a show. We're going to ride along with you.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.
All right, buddy.
Field is set, waving to the crowd as they go by the grandstands. Let's go back onto pit road and visit with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, you were talking about the equipment in this field. There are at least 6 or 7 cars here who have winning pedigrees in the Sprint Cup Series. You look through, there's some Roush Fenway cars. Obviously, the car that Ty Dillon is driving today is an old 29 from RCR. But there is one car today that's purpose-built for ARCA Racing, and that's the one on the pole. The car in number 33 has a serial number of 411. That means that car was built in April of this year. Brand new equipment, ARCA purpose built. It'll be interesting to see how it runs against the former Cup cars. Bob?
Ray, pay attention to the driver, the number 58 today, just 19 years old, Chad Hockenbrough. He is going to be stout. If Chicagoland was any indication a few weeks ago, that car dominated that race until blowing a right front tire very late in the race. Well, the team over the past few weeks has spent numerous hours in their shop rebuilding this race car. So that is indeed the same car that he did so well with a few weeks ago. Chad feels very confident coming into this race on getting his first ever ARCA Racing Series victory.
Thanks, Bob.
I heard Richard Childress talking to Clint Boyer on the scanner when the qualifying was over with, and he asked with Ty on the pole, and he said, Childress said sarcastically, no, Harvick built that kid a new car for ARCA, and he beat Ty.
And I was talking to Flash, Scott Nassett down there in the garage area, and they only have, between the two RCR teams, they've only have one new car that they built this year. I think they're in the process of building another car, but it's hard to compete with brand new equipment.
Purpose built.
Purpose built.
Purpose built. I like that. Take a look at a race analysis and the particulars about this very racetrack. 2-mile racetrack. This length of the race is 100 laps, 200 miles.
As you can see, the corners are banked at 18 degrees, the front straightaway 12 degrees. You come off turn 4, DW, you never really get straight. You kind of bend all the way down that long front straightaway.
Well, the front straightaway is considered to be about 3,600 feet long, Phil, and the back's only 2,240. So, yeah, this front straightaway is a huge loop from turn 4 to turn 1.
Important number there. Pit window 42 to 47 laps. That means these guys will have to make at least 2 pit stops during these 100 laps.
And we have to factor in they had qualifying earlier. They're not able to top the race cars off with fuel, so they had those 3 laps and these pace laps that they're also getting, so they're not going to have that good of fuel mileage.
Yeah, maybe a maximum of 40 laps at the very start here. So these guys will probably look at maybe 15, 20 laps, possibly being in their window to make it on one more stop.
Yeah, you want to be conservative on this first time in. Don't want to run out first thing.
Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, there's a pretty good chance that we're going to have a Michigan first-time winner today. The only guy in the field that's ever won here, Frank Kimmel, did it back in '98. But I love when you look back through the record books. There's a number of drivers in this field that have 1 victory. And Chris Buescher has 2. Ty Dillon has 5. Bobby Gerhard has 8. And then there's Kimmel. How about his number? 74 times he's gone to victory lane. Bob?
Well, Ray, another guy to keep an eye on today certainly is the number 51 car of young Casey Roderick, another teenager in this series. His first ever attempt here at Michigan International Speedway, and a lot of people believe this guy could go to victory lane. He's been a Legends hotshot around the Southeast for a long time, and then clawed his way through the late model ranks and won a bunch of races there. This is a test in tune for him. He needs to prove himself. He says, if I can do well here today, I will have some more rides in the ARCA Racing Series this year. But you know what? Right now, he doesn't have any other plans for the remainder of this year.
So there's a lot of pressure on young Casey Roderick.
18-year-old Casey Roderick.
Right, trying to have a good showing here in front of the Cup and Nationwide owners. Field all in line. Green flag goes in the air. We're underway. Cale Gale on the inside. Ty Dillon on the outside, racing into turn number 1.
Ty holds it down on the outside there. Remember, the outside group works at this racetrack.
Especially when you can get on the outside like that, Phil. You keep the guy on the inside pinned down. He needs the whole racetrack to get speed up off the corner. Outside's a pretty good place to be on these restarts, looks like.
Those 2 race cars stay door to door as they enter turn number 3. Let's see how the momentum works for Ty Dillon on the high side. He'll duck in behind the 33 of Cale Gale.
Probably a little teamwork going on there. Hey, you know, cut me some slack. Let me lead this first lap. We'll settle it later.
Obviously, Ty Dillon's car comes out of RCR. Kevin Harvick Incorporated will field the car for Cale Gale, but engines all come out of ECR, Earnhardt Childress Racing engines out of Welcome, North Carolina.
Chris Buescher running in the 3rd spot. And just behind them, Hal Martin in the 55. Casey Roderick is in the 51, running in the 5th position.
See Frank Kimmel, the 44 car. The Menards Ford got out of line for just a moment. Now there's Tim George, the other RCR car, looking at the bottom of Frank.
Tim George Jr., our most recent winner in the fog-shortened Pocono race from a week ago.
I think it's been a great resurgence for Frank Kimmel and his team this year. Been very, very competitive. 2nd in the points. Having a good year.
I was talking to Bill Kimmel, Frank's brother and crew chief. He said, I really think we let a couple get away with this year. We had a couple really good chances to win races, and we haven't done it.
Battle for the 6th spot. On the outside, the 15 of Josh Richards, just getting by the 16 of Joey Coulter.
Remember, we talked to Joe. He started back in the 10th spot. He's already moved up several positions. Daryl, one thing you'll notice.
Trouble already. Problems. The 40 gets turned around.
That Roger Carter in the 40 car.
I don't think he made any contact.
It is going to bring the caution up, but I think DW, this is going to be a little bit too early for these guys to be in their window.
Yeah, we've only got a few laps here.
Yeah, a little too early to stop, unless you need a serious adjustment.
3 laps complete.
You know, that doesn't look good.
That has the sign of being blown up.
Does not look good. Take another look.
You can see the smoke already trailing out of that 40 car.
That's what happened to him. He blew over there. Nice job of not hitting anything.
Sure did.
So the track crew gets to the 40 car after it brings out the first caution here in the ARCA Racing Series. I was just about to say we normally see long green flag runs at this racetrack, but obviously when Roger Carter's engine expires, we're not going to go much further.
Well, we still may see those, though, and probably will.
Roger was hoping you were right.
Roger wanted a long green flag run. It wasn't to be. We'll be right back to Michigan. Tonight it's time for some Motor City Mayhem. Tune in as Ryan Newman, Martin Truex Jr., and NASCAR Hall of Famer, war hero, 5 Purple Hearts, Bud Moore. Stop by the biggest party in racing. Don't miss NASCAR Trackside from Michigan. That's tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed.
There's going to be another Hall of Famer on that Trackside show.
Yes. Most definitely.
It's going to be fun.
DW. Opposite ends of the track. How about this? Ty Dillon just starting his career. Frank Kimmel still strong in his career.
Yeah, you can't say he's ending his career because we just talked about it. He was very competitive this year.
Resurgent this year.
Yeah. You see that 74 wins for Frank Kimmel out of 418 starts, and Ty has a pretty good record too. 50% of the time he's ended up in victory lane.
The field still making its way around Michigan International Speedway in a single file line as we're getting the track cleared, and we'll be back to green flag racing next. Welcome back. Under our first caution of the Michigan ARCA 200 here on Speed, your motorsports authority. Brooklyn, Michigan, overcast skies now. A very different condition from what the cars are used to as far as what was taking place earlier today. It was sunny skies, a little over 80 degrees. Now, no sun on the racetrack.
Why don't let's ask our leader, Cale Gale, how this racetrack is. We'll see if we can dial him up here. Hey, Cale, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. You have a copy?
Sir, got you loud and clear.
All right, buddy, we've got a little bit of overcast conditions here this afternoon. We're talking about the racetrack. You've got a couple 3 green flag laps in before that caution flag. How's the racetrack?
It's a little different from what it was yesterday because the Cup cars and the Nationwide cars have been out there today. So car feels pretty good. Kevin and Delantis built me an awesome car. I want to thank Ream for being on board. We were fortunate enough to sit on the pole, and hopefully we can go out here and finish off a real good day.
Cale, I know you haven't been doing a whole lot of racing here. You ran a truck race earlier this year, but when you get the limited opportunities like you have now, man, you really want to make the most of it, don't you?
M4, you do, and I'm just very fortunate to have an opportunity, in today's times, and we're just real fortunate to be out here today. Hopefully we'll get going here and have a lot of fun racing.
All right, buddy, have a good one.
Sir.
Check in with Bob Dillner.
Rick, a tough or lucky break, depending on how you look at it, for the 42 of Clay Rogers, a multi-time Pro Cup Series champion running here in the ARCA Racing Series. He had to come down pit road during this caution period, and the reason was because that 42 car was already bottoming out on the racetrack, and they said, you know what, we don't want to waste any time or any chances here. So they brought that car down pit road, and they raised the front end of that machine, and hopefully that'll keep that chassis off the racetrack, Ray.
And, Bob, as we were looking at practice yesterday, I heard a lot of guys who had a 375 rear gear in make a change. They went to a 370, and a lot of that had to do with the conditions. So my question to Daryl and Phil, What's your thoughts on that now that it's overcast today? A lot of these guys with a different gear than they planned on running this weekend.
Well, the thing about it, Ray, as you well know, is these things have these, I guess you call them rev limiters. And if you had that 75 gear in, you might be hitting that rev limiter going down these down this front straightaway particularly. Gear it up a little higher, a little bit better pull off the corner, a little bit better straightaway speed. With these cool temperatures, I think I like that higher gear.
I think I'm like you, Daryl, maybe even as far as a 364. I knew there were a lot of 370s already in the garage area yesterday during practice, so I think a higher gear would be advantage. I just hate hitting that rev limiter so early on these straightaways like those low gears will do.
Yeah.
Well, June 25th, the Rolex Sports Car Series is revving up for a fight on a new battlefield. For the first time in a decade, Grand Am returns to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and this legendary track promises road racing at its best. Don't miss the Rolex Sports Car Series Saturday, June 25th. That's live at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, only on Speed.
Going to be a big weekend at Elkhart Lake. Nationwide cars will be there that weekend as well. And I think we probably need to explain, Daryl, that the Cup Series and the Nationwide Series both have a gear rule. You can only run a certain gear. The ARCA Series does it a little bit differently in the fact that they limit them to 8,800 RPMs, and that goes through the ignition box. You can put any gear in there you want, but the engine's only going to turn 8,800 RPMs. The more your gear you have, the sooner it's going to get to 8,800 RPMs.
Right. Matter of fact, you can hear them hitting the rev limiter going down the front straightaway here sometime if they get a real good strong run.
We'll hear it soon. And Cale Gale back into the gas. Actually, he slid the tires just a bit, but was able to get good traction and pull away from Ty Dillon on this restart.
Got a lot of horsepower in that bad boy.
Burned the tires off
like
on the restart.
John Force shooting out of there.
We were eavesdropping, and Rick Corelli, who's spotting for Cale, said, remember now, practice your restarts. And he got it figured out that time, didn't he?
Yes, sir. Whatever he's been practicing, he better keep doing it. You know, if I remember right, Cale Gale won a race at Gateway in 2006.
Yeah.
So he's a winner.
Yeah. And very limited number of starts. He was actually driving the 51 car we just saw go by with Casey Roderick for that team, James Finch's Phoenix Construction team.
There's Casey Roderick, and right behind him the 25 of Max Gresham.
When I was talking, actually, we were talking to Casey yesterday, and he said he grew up with Max Gresham. They're both from Georgia, and they've raced together since they were little kids, whether it's go-karts and bandoleros, and they're within just a few months of each other, and they're both 18 years old.
I was going to say, when they both were little kids, they're not much more than that now.
Last week.
Young guys, I mean.
Josh Richards, there's a young guy able to get by the veteran.
Whoa!
Slides up near the veteran, Frank Kimmel. Those two stay door to door.
That's all that's up to bottom for Joey Coulter in the 16 car.
Frank's not going to like that. He's going to say, boy, what do you think? You know how many laps we are into this race? Take it easy.
Bob, there was a interesting moment there for Josh Richards in that 15 sliding up the racetrack.
That's right, and that's not the only time he's had an interesting moment this weekend. That car has been loose from the get-go, and you would figure in the world of Outlaws Dirt Late Model Series, you got a loose car all the time, but Josh said on these big old asphalt tracks, it's very tough to take. He got loose coming off the final corner in qualifying, and that's why he didn't get the pole. He really believed he's got a fast race car, but the problem is that car continues to be loose for Josh Richards, just holding on at this point of the race.
And you know, we heard, I think it was Cale Gale or Ty Dillon once in the, I think it was Ty Dillon, said this track is like driving on dirt. That's really what this track is. It has so limited grip that these cars you actually are turning right to get into the corner. That's how free and loose they are. And that's what you do on dirt. You turn right to go left. So I think they're applying that strategy here.
Dirt tracking a 2-mile racetrack.
Yeah, 200 miles an hour.
200 miles an hour entering the corners, probably.
Kimmel and Joey Coulter battling for the 8th spot. Out in front, Cale Gale, Ty Dillon, Chris Buescher, Hal Martin, and Casey Roderick, your top 5.
I mean, you think about it. They set a new track record here this weekend at 189 miles an hour.
Average.
So you got to be hitting at least 2-something down the straightaway.
There's Max Gresham in the 25, just in front of that 58. Chad Hockenbraun.
Yeah, Bob talked about that very car almost winning the race in Chicago. That was one of the wins that Ty Dillon got. That was his 3rd win this year. Ty told me, said, I had nothing for the 58 car. The 58 car was going to beat me, but he cut a tire, and there's a good sound of that rev limiter going off there.
Exactly.
Tim George Jr. on the inside, able to get by that 15 of Josh Richards, a loose race car, and he's had his hands full. Tom Hessert in the 52 just able to go by in the federated number 52, that Chevrolet.
Tom moves that 52 car into the top 10. That's Kenny Schrader owned car. Tom Hessert's driving. I was talking to John Monson, his crew chief down in the garage. He said the car's really good in race trim. We just didn't seem to have the practice, the qualifying speed that we would have liked. But I think we're going to be really good in the race.
Schrader would have loved this track if it's driving like dirt. He won last night on dirt. Some little racetrack. I don't remember where it was, but I do know he won last night. Congratulations to him.
It's liable to have been anywhere.
It could have been somewhere in the area.
If there's a dirt track, Ken Schrader will find it. Cale Gale out in front of the field still. He's the only one who's led laps here in Michigan. Welcome back to the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. It's the Michigan ARCA 200 here from Michigan International Speedway. Cale Gale still out in front of the field. Ty Dillon, Chris Buescher, Hal Martin, and Casey Roderick, your top 5.
A good battle for the 3rd spot between the 17 of Chris Buescher and the 55 of Hal Martin. They're back just a ways. There's their 2nd place car, Ty Dillon.
2nd place car, that gap between 1st and 2nd has stabilized. As a matter of fact, I believe that Ty Dillon might be closing the gap a little bit on our leader.
There's our
6th and 7th
place cars, Max Gresham and Chad Hockenbraugh.
First super speedway race for Max Gresham. I mean, he's a short track ace, we know.
The fastest racetrack he's ever been on is Dover, which is a real fast 1-mile racetrack, but nothing like this 200-mile racetrack we have here at Michigan.
We've seen him run quite a bit of races in the K&N Pro Series, and now working around the 2-mile Michigan International Speedway. Bob?
Well, Rick, Phil is right. This is the first super speedway attempt for young Max Gresham, and honestly, he's just biding his time right now. Billy Venturini, the crew chief on that 25, came across the radio right before the race started and said, listen, we're just going to log laps for the first part of the race and then give it hell at the end. So Max Gresham just kind of biding his time, waiting to get to the end of the race, but they think that's the winning race car.
Well, Poole was on the pole in that car last week. And that car,
and you had him in the pool.
I had him in the pool. I picked him to win, but he had a lot of problems in the pits last week, and I know Billy Venturini was not happy with the crew he had at Pocono last week.
Yeah, Tim George's RCR crew got him out 2nd. We actually had Grant Enfinger, who only did 2 tires or fuel only. He got out 1st. Tim was able to get by Grant Enfinger, and then boom, the fog rolled in, and they had to red flag the race, and Tim was left our winner.
Yeah, great gamble by Enfinger though to get that good finish.
These two continue to work around the 2-mile racetrack. Gresham and Hockenbraugh. Gresham in front. He's got about a 2-car length lead over Chad Hockenbraugh.
Now you get a nice draft here. You get a nice pull off the car in front of you. But with that rev limiter, sometimes the draft won't be as effective as you'd like for it to be because it'll start hitting the chip as the RPM go up.
To continue to battle for that 6th spot. We saw Chad try the lower line through 3 and 4 to see if he could get any advantage over Max Gresham, but Gresham still has that 2-car length lead.
But you see how that normal, if that car didn't have that rev limiter on it, he would suck right up to the back of the 25 car and set himself up for a pass. But he can't get to him because the thing cuts off.
And remember, the reason that ARCA limits these cars and engines to 8,800 RPMs is to save money. Anytime you add RPMs, you're going to add maintenance and breakage, and that's going to cost more money. And they try to keep the cost down by doing that.
Yeah, these engines are capable of turning at 9,500, but they won't last near as long as they will when you're just turning them 8,800.
Cale Gale setting a blistering pace as he has a 1.7-second lead over Ty Dillon here at Michigan. Welcome back to Michigan ARCA 200. You're on Speed, your motorsports authority. Cale Gale still out in front. Sun peeking through the clouds now on certain portions of the racetrack.
And that will change this racetrack. This is probably one of the more temperature-sensitive racetracks that we have on the entire circuit.
Let me get in one of these things, see if it's as slick as they say it is. Let's take a ride with somebody. What do you say? Let's find somebody. Who can we ride with?
Joey Coulter. We have an onboard with Joey Coulter.
Yeah, he wouldn't be a bad person. There we go.
Let's listen to his throttle work. Looked like he pedaled it a little bit when he crossed the seam between lanes.
Yeah, and the car moved around, and here now we're going down the front. Let's see if we get up against the limiter. There you go. That cuts the engine. It just keeps the engine from turning any more RPM. Really slows you down on corner entry, which sometimes not a bad thing. Car looks like it's handling good. Just a little bit of looseness up corner exit there. Engine pulls hard until it gets right along here. Of course, that back straightaway is so much shorter than the front. It's probably right on the limit when it gets down to turn 3.
Here, and having to pedal that third and fourth turn now is basking in the sunlight. He had to pedal that throttle a little bit down there in 3 and 4.
See, actually, you know, that limiter can be a driver's friend. Instead of overdriving the corner, it almost slows the car down for you, so you can't overdrive the corner.
Gives you a signal when it's time to back off.
Yeah, it's time to back off. We used to run it at Martinsville all the time. It was a great tool for keeping from overdriving the corner.
Casey Roderick just in front of that 25. Max Gresham trying to close the gap between he and Roderick.
Remember, these are the two drivers, as we see Gresham go to the inside to make it side by side. They grew up racing from a very early age together, both from Georgia.
25 car looks pretty good. I believe, like we heard him say on the report there, Gresham just taking it easy right now.
Logging laps. And that 25 is first super speedway start.
You can see it was a little bit flatter down there in the bottom of the racetrack than it was up where the 51 was running. It's just a little bit flatter down there.
Well, that's part of what he's doing right now. If you say you're logging laps, you're also figuring out where to go, where not to go. Can I set somebody up? How do I get by him? Do I go low? Do I go high? We got a car coming down pit road here. I believe it's the 17 car.
Yep. Chris Buescher on the apron.
Got a left front tire
down. Tires down, and it's damaged that left front fender. Tough break for Chris Buescher. Comes in here 4th in points.
You know, in the Cup practice, we had a couple of cars have left front tires go down. I'm not sure if possibly the track has gotten real rough, and where you run these things on low air, that it's maybe damaging the left front tire on some of these cars.
Chris Buescher was running in the 4th spot, and right now there's a great battle for 4th. Now that he has slid out and off the racetrack, Roderick and Gresham are battling for that 4th position. Ray.
Well, guys, even though Buescher lost time getting to the pits because of that flat tire, this could work out to be not so terrible for him. They're going to do left side tires only and get him back to the racetrack. And we, you know, when we come up, if this thing stays green, we can see a round of green flag pit stops. Actually, a number of cars on pit road right now. A couple of guys coming down here to get some tires early on. The 15 is in and the yellow is out.
Caution just comes out now. Debris on the racetrack.
Well, we saw parts off of the 17 car. Where did they go? They got to be out there somewhere.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're hearing from the ARCA racing officials. It is debris from the 17 car.
Saw a big piece of the nose missing, and of course there's the tire. It's coming all apart, and you see that huge piece of debris right there flying through the air. Yeah, they had to have a caution for this.
Yeah, cars running through. There's the tire damage. That's where it damaged that left front fender. Again, these cars don't have a splitter like the Sprint Cup cars. They have a traditional plastic air dam.
Valence on the front.
Yeah. This will give the opportunity, the Rulo brothers, an opportunity to bring that car in and try to patch that up a little bit. A very aerodynamic racetrack running speeds upwards of 200 miles an hour.
They do have the Aaron's Lucky Dog, and so someone will be able to gain a lap back. I believe it's going to go to Tom Birdie in the 35.
Steve Matt Lofton, the strutmasters.com car being pushed behind the wall.
Now they got the hood up on it. They've got some kind of issue. They're looking up around the radiator, like maybe some of that debris went through his radiator.
Very possibly.
Cale Gale's been out in front of this field since the very beginning. There's your Aaron's Lucky Dog going to Tom Birdie. Another one of the Venturini Motorsports entries.
Tom's going to get a lap back courtesy of Aaron's. So you know Mikey would be happy about that. He loves when Aaron's gives those laps back.
I could actually tell that he enjoys it.
Mikey's here watching the race, I believe, from his motor coach in the infield.
He probably is. He's in the area.
Yep. Cale Gale's led all 30 of the laps that we have completed. Now we're going to see the field come to pit road, make their first stop.
Pit road is open.
And Cale Gale will lead the field onto pit road. Let's go down to Bob.
Max Gresham in the 4th spot right now will bring that Venturini Motorsports number 25 onto pit road. The biggest complaint as he continues to log laps and learn here, the car is loose in, especially when he gets over the bump. So it'll be 4 tires and a slight air pressure adjustment for Max Gresham in the 25 team. Right?
Down here in the 33 pits, they're going with tires, and they're also going to pull a little bit of tape off of the front of this Rheem Chevrolet. Kevin Harvick been talking to him, telling him that you can go up high on the racetrack, get up into that second groove. The 33 will be away a couple of cars ahead of him. Down in pit stall number 1, it is the 41, also going with 4 tires. It'll be interesting to watch the battle off pit road. Looks like Ty Dillon will be the first out.
Yeah, but Cale Gale, he hit a tire that was right in front of him when he tore out of the pits there. I don't know how much damage it did, but hit a tire.
So Ty Dillon will win the race off pit road. Cale Gale comes off second, just behind the 41. But again, potential damage to the front of that 33. We'll stay on that. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Ansell. For over 100 years, the world leader in hand protection. And by Sunoco, the official fuel of the ARCA Racing Series and fuel provider to 40 other racing series. Under our second caution, this time it was for debris on the racetrack, but we want to take a look on pit road. What happened exiting?
Yeah, just when he gets ready to, Cale Gale takes off here, you see hits that tire, slammed it in the back of the 52 car. We're lucky he didn't hit a crew member, but where it hit it, Phil and I were looking at where it hit it. Probably the strongest part of the front of the fascia there.
Right at that end, right at the bend where the Impala logo is. So I think he's pretty fortunate.
That's right where your bumper bar is,
exactly.
Right through that part of the nose. So I don't see any, from what angles we've had, I don't see any damage on the car.
Tire changer looked like a bullfighter. He just pushed that tire to the side. Remember, that tire's 60, 70 pounds now with an interliner.
Yeah, and we're looking at the nose here, and you can see right above Impala, there's a bar that runs right across that crease of the nose. That's the strongest part of the nose of this car. Maybe a little piece out of the skirt there, skirt down at the bottom, but that's about it.
Yeah. No major
damage.
So Cale Gale comes off of pit road, second to Ty Dillon. So Ty Dillon now is out in front of this field leading laps. Could he make it 4 wins in the early part of this season? Stay with us. This July, baseball's biggest stars will gather together in the Arizona desert for one particular night in the summer's biggest event, as Fox brings you every thrilling moment of 2011 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, only on Fox. Let's go trackside quickly to Ray Dunlap.
And guys, just want to let you know, it apparently was the throttle cable on Casey Roderick's number 51. He had the engine running, but the pedal was all the way to the floor. They're trying to fix that. Hopefully he'll get back in the race, but definitely a couple laps down. Guys?
That's right.
Tough break for him. Yeah, he came out of the pits in third. The guys did a great job on their pit stop.
Green flag back in the air. Ty Dillon out in front of Cale Gale. Cale Gale had a great restart the first time we went back to green. Let's see how he does on this one.
Ty Dillon cuts it down to the bottom of the racetrack, gains a couple car lengths on Cale Gale.
Tell you one thing about this joint here, when you get out front and you get a little clean air on the nose, like every other place, I guess, really, but here particularly, you can really get away from somebody.
Chad Hockenbrough staying at the bottom of the racetrack, and then number 58.
You know, Ray had done a report that the 17 may not have been so bad. The 17 cutting that tire down, having to make a pit stop. And then the caution came right back out. So he does find himself 1 lap down. He needs to get in position now to be there. Aaron's lucky dog, Josh Richards, has that right now. He's running in the 20th spot. The first car 1 lap down.
I believe that 17 is fast enough to get that, Phil. He's pretty quick on the racetrack.
Frank Kimmel up into the 4th spot. Max Gresham, Joey Coulter running 5th and 6th behind him.
You know, before Chris Buescher had that flat tire, what do you think the average age was of the top 8 that were running on the racetrack at that time? Remember, this is when Chris Buescher was running up in the 4th spot.
You're saying this because Frank Kimmel's throwing this average off,
yes,
right?
Yes, I cannot say this anymore.
Average age was probably around 20.
20 and a half for the top 8.
And Kimmel has thrown a wrench into that because I think he's 30, right?
Now it's probably 32, the average age with Frankie. I'm sorry, Frank.
I'm not going there, boys. That's not nice.
Sean Corr just on the outside of that 44. Bob Dillner.
Well, Sean Corr took 2 tires, guys, to gain some track position here. He's one of the regulars on the ARCA Racing Series. No top 10s this year, but he sits top 10 in the point standings. Figured he would take advantage of a 2-tire stop and track position. But, guys, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he just cut down a right front tire, Bob. See a little bit of damage on the hood. He does have a flat right front tire.
Yes, sir. He's coming to.
He's going to make it onto pit road, at least.
Pit road right here.
Look at the damage it did to that hood.
Yep.
Great move to get track position, and maybe had absolutely nothing to do with this right front tire going down, but tough break for Sean Corr.
Changed the right front tire, right side tires. Tim George Jr. working behind that 55 of Hal Martin, trying to close the gap, as we also see Brian Silas in the 6. Chad Hockenbraun with a great run on the bottom of the racetrack.
Right down on that white line. That's the shortest way. You just need to you got to have enough racetrack that you can let the car drift out off the corner and not lose all your speed, because that's somebody just had a problem right here in front of us.
Right in front of us. The 55 of Hal Martin looks like he had contact with the wall.
That's another. I saw a tire go down on that car. I believe there's still debris or something on the racetrack.
Caution has come out once again.
Second flat tire we've seen here back to back.
Yeah, sure is.
That thing was coming down the front straightaway here, and I saw it dart dead right.
A lot of damage to that NOLA Chevrolet. Toyota for Venturini Motorsports.
He was running in the 6th spot, too.
Yeah, he's running good.
Huge damage to the right front of that race car.
Watch his Phil. I think you'll see him coming down the front. I just saw him. He was almost underneath us. I saw the thing dart right.
See him gingerly taking that race car back.
See him right there left of your screen. Right there he goes by the start-finish line.
Wow. Phil, it's rough. There's a bump right here where the tunnel is. I'm not so sure that thing didn't hit that bump and bottom that tire out and maybe cut it down on the fender
or something. On the top of the fender
or something.
The fender above, where the fender goes above the tire.
Because that thing took a pretty good dive there when it hit this bump. You're on low air right now. You just been out of the pits. You haven't built your air up yet. Good chance it cut the tire down on hitting on something on the fender or whatever.
Major damage to the right front, and it continues to escalate now as he's got that tire tearing apart.
Yeah, we talk about this front straightaway being a constant arc, and that's why that thing jumped out to the right when that happened, because he was trying to turn left a little bit. If this straightaway would have been straighter, if that would have happened on the back straightaway, he may have been able to keep that car out of the wall, but it was still going to do the damage to the bodywork that it did.
Again, one of the Venturini Motorsports entries. Going to make the hard left turn and go back into the garage area.
Yeah, he killed it. But let's watch. Car up top of your screen.
Watch it. Watch the bump.
Yeah, see how it went across that bump and kind of dove. The front of it went up and down, and the tire blew. Had to rub on something.
That's a new pedestrian tunnel that the racetrack put in here before we came here. Again, we talk about this racetrack will be repaved after August for next year's races. Bob, what's going on with that 55?
Listening right now to Hal Martin on the radio, he said, I saw something fall off of somebody's car and I ran it over, and it was just a matter of time before that right front tire cut down. So that's exactly what happened to Hal Martin. He continues to have bad luck here in the ARCA Series, possibly his last race this year with Venturini Motorsports.
This was just his 5th start. He's got a career best finish of 3rd at Chicago back in 2009, but was hoping for better results here. And we see our Aaron's lucky dog goes to Josh Richards in the 15, gets a lap back.
Always there's a common denominator. Guys can have bad luck and they get in things that's not their fault. Things happen all around them, not their fault, but there's always a common denominator. It's that guy.
Yeah. Watch the best of NASCAR on Speed shows online on demand. Go to the video section of speed.com or NASCAR.com each weekend for interviews, highlights, and race recaps from your favorite speed programs, such as Trackside, Race Day, Victory Lane, and more. Let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you. There was a bit of a problem on the Federated Auto Parts car for Tom Hessert. Apparently, he hit something on the racetrack also, and they have a broken right front brake line. So as they got the hood up and got to looking at that, they had to add a new brake line and bleed the brakes to get him back out. Hessert has gone back to the racetrack. Now let's go check in with Bob Dillner.
Well, Ray, you got to take a look at this 55 car down here. That is a big hit for Hal Martin here, a blown right front tire. He's in the wall. Hal Martin, your bad luck continues here, man. That's a tough break.
Yeah, it really is. You know, I just feel bad for these guys in Venturini Motorsports, number 55. I mean, they put in a heck of a lot of work this week getting this car ready. You know, NOLA Motorsports part, U.S. Forensic, Toyota Camry was running real good. I mean, we had a strong car there, had a little hiccup in the pits, but we were coming back through the field and looked like a run over something about a lap before, and then right front just let go. So ended our day.
You can see the dejection on his face, guys.
And this isn't a good shot either. The 52 of Tom Hessert back on pit road. They continue to work on that race car.
But they're bleeding the brakes right now, trying to signal the driver, Tom Hessert, to pump the brakes up.
May have run over something and knocked a brake line off of that car.
Crew continues to work on Hessert's car. We stay under caution. We'll be back for the race start here in Michigan. Welcome back, Brooklyn, Michigan, the side of the Michigan ARCA 200 here on Speed. Ty Dillon out in front, Cale Gale, Frank Kimmel, Max Gresham, your top four. Joey Coulter running in the 5th spot.
Cale Gale needs to work on his restart. That practice he did, he got it right on the start of the race, but they got away from him. Ty Dillon got away from him on the last restart.
Cars on the left side inside. Looks like a problem there for Ken Schenkel. He wasn't able to get up to speed. Green flag flies.
Gale's all over the back of Ty Dillon right now. He's going to peek out to the inside. Not able to do anything that time.
I don't know what adjustments they made to Ty Dillon's car on his last pit stop, but man, they fixed him up because he ran faster lap times than they were running when the race started.
Ty made his ARCA debut at Iowa last year, set on the pole and finished second. And Cale alluded to it during his interview. You know who his crew chief was, right?
It was
Cale Gale.
Yeah, Cale Gale. I was going to say Cale Gale. He worked as a driver coach for Ty Dillon and then served as the crew chief for him.
Well, that was James Hilton. Back in the day, James was a crew chief for a number of great drivers, and James said, I'm tired of working on these things. I'm going to drive them.
And by the way, he's still driving today in this race.
Yeah, he's out there. What is he, 76 years old?
I think he's 76.
76 years old, James Harvey Hilton.
And if he'd have kept on working on him, he'd be retired by now.
Currently moving up to the 3rd spot is Frank Kimmel. How are they doing, Bob?
Well, Frank Kimmel, remember, he's no, youngster either. 49 years old, the 9-time champion. Hasn't won in nearly 3 years, a span of 51 races. And Frank eagerly wants to get back to victory lane. He still feels like he's got the fire in his belly right now, running 3rd on the racetrack. Tight in the center is the condition that Frank is fighting right now, but he's got a pretty darn good race car.
Yeah, 2 races I know. One that was at Talladega. He had a great shot at winning Talladega. He had a really good shot at winning Toledo.
Till he and Ty got together. Ty got into the back of Frank Kimmel there late in the race. Within the last 10 laps, Ty ended up going to victory lane. Frank wasn't real happy. Frank went to victory lane as well.
Yeah, he went to victory lane. Got the checkered flag and took it away from him.
Pulled the checkered flag out of Ty Dillon's hands and threw it on the ground.
You see Casey Roderick getting by Frank Kimmel. Remember now he had that throttle cable issue. He's being shown 7 laps down. Great race car. 7 laps down. Good battle for 3rd. Now Max Gresham pulls to the inside, clears Frank Kimmel. Frank's going to switch back and try to get back underneath him, coming up off of 2. The crossover move.
You can do that sometime, but not very effectively here, because the bottom just slows you down so much when there's somebody you're outside.
Kimmel looks to the bottom of the racetrack once again as Max Gresham runs a little bit higher.
A little easier on this end of the speedway because the track opens up when you come out of the corner. You got a little bit more room to let the car drift out, but off of turn 2, pretty hard to do.
So Gresham has taken over the 3rd spot from Kimmel. Ty Dillon, Cale Gill, Max Gresham, your top 3. Kimmel running fourth, Joey Coulter fifth, Hockenbracht, Tim George Jr., Grant Enfinger, Brian Silas, and Matt Merrill, your top 10.
Just completed the halfway distance of this race. You know, that clean air is really something. We saw Cale Gale open up a bit of a lead before their pit stops. Ty beat him out of the pits. Now Ty's opened up a 2.5 lead as we see Joey Coulter take over fourth from Frank Kimmel.
Coulter with a very impressive move. And then back behind him you see Chris Buescher in the 17. He had problems early in this race. He's a lap down.
There's Chad Hockenbracht right behind Chris Buescher now in the 58 car, the Tasty Apple car. Have you ever had those chocolate Tasty Apples?
Oh yeah.
Man, they're good.
It's one of the best things about going to an ARCA race, having a Tasty Apple.
Absolutely, absolutely. Chris Buescher trying to stay in the right position to get the Aaron's lucky dog if the caution flag were to come out. Right now he has it. He's been shown in the 18th spot. He's the first car 1 lap down.
He passed the car up pretty good.
Looks good, looks fast.
Yeah, I think they may have helped it actually.
And into the wall hard, Tom Hessert.
Hard contact.
Right outside of turn number 2, Tom Hessert comes to stop on the racetrack.
Well, I wonder what, they had the hood up on this car, did a lot of work on it. Got to believe there's some connection to what was wrong with the car when they were working on it.
So they reported that the brake line had been knocked off it. They were replaced the brake line, but see if we can see what happens here, DW. He's down on the brake. A tire went down. A right rear tire went down. You see the damage to the quarter panel before he ever got up to the outside wall. That was another car came by that got caught up into it a little bit, made some contact with the outside wall.
Let's look at that again, Phil. He's down on the apron. He knows he's got a problem.
Wrong. Yeah. Realizes something's wrong.
Tread come. Boy, who was that? Right there. Who was that got in the wall after getting clipped by him?
Boy, I couldn't tell who that car was.
What's his things that comes back up the racetrack?
Number 12, Marianne Defoe.
Marianne.
And the 12 car.
Almost had him cleared.
And almost saved it, but into the wall fairly hard after was clipped by the 52 of Tom Hessert. You see the damage to the right front of that race car.
Yeah, that car is hurt.
Marianne Defoe had a pretty impressive start to the season.
She comes in here 10th in points.
Yeah, she's in the top 10 in points, man.
Has a top 10 finish already. Got that back at Chicagoland. Her career best finish.
Looks like it may be terminal here with 48 laps to go. A lot of damage to that.
Yeah, they're going to push her back to the garage. That's a shame. She's running pretty good.
That car was smoking hot when it was coming down pit road after that accident.
It definitely was. Tom Hessert, problems though. They're working with him, and Ty Dillon on pit road now, Ray.
Yeah, and it's a surprise to me, Rick. They were talking about staying out. They wanted to try to get about another 20 laps in before they put their last set of tires on. Cale Gale stayed out. It's caught him by surprise for sure. So these guys come in that SKF Chevrolet, and they are going to get service for him. So interesting call. Looks like no tires, though, so they are going fuel only, Bob.
Well, trouble for Joey Coulter in that number 16 machine. He's on pit road. He had a right rear flat tire. They were not planning on coming down pit road right now, but 4 tires and fuel. He is away. Maybe a lucky break for Joey Coulter.
Guys, this is very close to their pit window. We talk about the pit window being 42 to 47. We have 47 laps to go with a few caution laps, DW. They may be able to make it from here.
That's what they're thinking. I would never question that crew. They're pretty smart. We saw that last week.
And they saved that last set of tires Ray was talking about in case they need them with 15, 20, 30 laps to go.
Yes, sir.
Remember, you talked about Chris Buescher being in the right position as far as the Aaron's Lucky Dog. He receives that Aaron's Lucky Dog. Will be back on the lead lap. That will put 18 cars on the lead lap now.
He has a fast car. He will get his way back up towards the front.
Yeah, we should be going on one of those long green here shortly.
Just past the halfway point here at Michigan. The start, it was Cale Gale winning the pole. Ty Dillon, those two went side by side for the lead.
Caution number 1, Roger Carter loses an engine. Does a nice job keeping that car out of the outside wall.
Then on caution number 2, we see coming down the back right here, the 17 car, Chris Buescher. He loses the left front tire. A lot of damage to the nose. Get a debris caution.
On that pit stop, Cale Gale runs into a tire off of Tommy Hessert's car. No apparent damage to the 33 car.
The 55, hard contact with the outside wall. Hal Martin blows the right front tire.
Here's Sean Core, the 82, goes the right front tire.
52 had some work done on it. Then, when he went back out, problems. Tire goes down, loses the tread into the wall hard.
And catches Mary Eve in the process.
Cale Gale is your current leader. We've had 2 out front, Ty Dillon and Cale Gale. 4 cautions already. This is your Messina Wildlife mid-race recap.
Have I told you happy birthday yet, Rick?
Oh, Rick, happy birthday to you.
Hey,
happy birthday to you.
Are you
happy
enjoying the
birthday,
cake?
dear Rick.
Happy birthday
to you.
I want to say thank you to Lloyd for
30,
this
30?
spectacular cake. I want to say thank
30,
you. I want to say
30,
thank you to
30.
you forever
Yeah.
for that comment.
30.
30, that's how old I thought he was.
It's been a millennium since he saw 30.
I mean, just graduated from college.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you keep thinking that. Back in line. Back at Michigan International Speedway as we're getting ready for the restart. Cale Gale out in front. Max Gresham running second. Green flag back in the air.
That's the 51 car on the inside. Casey Roderick, remember, 7 laps down due to a throttle cable issue.
Cale Gale with a great restart. Already has a huge lead over Max Gresham as they come out of turn 2.
Yeah, he's wondering what happened to Ty Dillon. Where did he go? He was my competition.
I was his crew chief last year. I don't know that I would have brought him in the pits then.
Kimmel running in the 3rd spot. Hockenbrough in the 4th. Tim George Jr. 5th. Grant Enfinger is 6th. Tom Birding is 7th. Ty Dillon running in the 8th position.
Just took over the 6th spot. Already up to 6th here in 1 lap. Two spots for Ty Dillon.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's bad fast. He'll chase him down.
It's a great move by Scott Nassett to bring Ty Dillon, get a little bit of fuel. You know that we've got enough fuel to get to the end here. We're going to save those tires, right, Ray?
Absolutely, Phil. They plan on coming for tires, but this was really an insurance move. You know, you guys were talking earlier about a chance for a long green flag run. Well, he's done his homework and looked at the stats here, and there usually is one in this race. So if we're in it right now, they've got insurance. They can stay out there a lot longer than the 31 and the 33 and the other guys that are ahead of them.
Strategy here at Michigan could come into play.
You study the trends of these races. These races for 10, you go back 10 years and you look at what the trends are. When are the cautions? How often are the cautions? How many caution laps are there? Those are things that the smart crew chiefs today do, and they have that in a program in their computer, and they follow those trends. They're usually pretty close to right.
Good side-by-side battle for the 4th spot. Tim George trying to take over that 4th spot from Chad Hockenbrough.
Has to duck in behind him. Hockenbrough still has the position. Tim George Jr. behind him now in that 31.
As you mentioned, Darrell, that 31 car, by winning last week, secured that sponsorship for the rest of the season. So good news here in the ARCA Racing Series.
Bob Dillner, how is Chad Hockenbrough doing in that 58?
Hockenbrough a little tight on the racetrack with his race car right now, but take a look at his brand new t-shirt that they debuted this weekend. If you look at the pronunciation, or at least the spelling of his name, Chad Hackenbracht, that's what it looks like. So they came out with a t-shirt. What's a Chad Hacken something? Well, we know the pronunciation is now Hockenbrough because he's told us, but the answer to the question, he's like Kenny Wallace. He's a race car driver.
A race car driver. I'll take answer D.
He's going for the 3rd spot right now, trying to take that over from Frank Kimmel.
And take a look at who's coming behind him. That 41 of Ty Dillon has a great run. Now he's trying to get that spot away from Hockenbrough.
Go down the inside right here. That car works really nice down on the bottom. He can carry the speed. Can't
quite clear him.
But that just shows as good as he is up off the bottom, it's still hard to make that pass.
And remember now, Ty Dillon came in topped off with fuel, did not change tires. And truthfully, that's the worst case scenario, isn't DW? When you fill a car with fuel and don't change tires.
Yeah, because it makes the car a little loose. You got all that rear weight. You got all that fuel in the trunk. And so it makes that thing a little rear heavy, and that makes it a little bit loose till you burn that fuel off. Fuel catches up with the tires eventually.
I'll tell you who should feel a little bit disappointed about the fact that he didn't change tires is the guys he's passing right now. On the same length of time on these tires, but he's able to get by them.
Chad Hockenbrough takes over that 3rd spot from Frank Kimmel. Now Ty's going to jump to the bottom of Frank, see if he can get that 4th spot away.
Tell you what, that 58 car is pretty steamy.
Same car that he ran so well in Chicago with, did a lot of damage. Incredible that crew was able to get that car back together.
Dillon able to get by the 44. Now he'll set his sights on Hockenbraugh. Chad Hockenbraugh, the only driver in the top 6 without an ARCA win.
He keeps running like this, though.
Oh,
won't be long.
5 of the last 7 Michigan International Speedway winners got their first ARCA win. Could it be Hockenbraugh today?
Hockenbraugh will have on his next T-shirt, winner.
Race car driver, winner. Tim George now takes over a spot from Frank Kimmel. That moves Tim up into the top 5. 2 RCR cars again in the top 5.
Cale Gill, Max Gresham 1 and 2. Hockenbraugh, Ty Dillon running 3rd and 4th. Tim George Jr. 5th. Back there in 6th. Frank Kimmel. What's going on, Bob?
Frank Kimmel can't keep up with the guys that are lightning quick in front of him, and it's because of one reason and 3 words which he just said over the radio: tight, tight, tight. That car just won't turn in the middle of the corner.
You know, it was 6 years ago today that Frank Kimmel got his last of 2 wins here at Michigan. We see a battle for 12th going between Chris Buescher, who got by the 1 of Chad McCumbee. Now Buescher, remember, he was the recipient of the Aaron's Lucky Dog, got back on the lead lap, so now he's moving up toward the front.
Yeah, Chad qualified in the 12th spot. Chad McCumbee, he had to go to the back of the pack for the start of this race because of a cut tire during qualifying.
You know, Phil, we're going to have a battle for the lead here before long. That 25 car getting a little draft off of the 51 there in front of him, and he's catching up to our leader right now, Cale Gale. So the 25, he's put in his laps. He's ready to go racing.
He was a 10th faster that lap than was Cale Gale.
Cale Gale's running the high line around this racetrack. Ray, how's the handling of that car?
Well, he's very happy with the race car, Rick, but what's really interesting is to listen to the radio, because Kevin Harvick is giving him driving school instructions down here, telling him about his line into the corner. He said, listen, here's what you got to do. Go way up to the high side and use that wall to get some air, or get it pinned down to the white line. Do not run in the middle. Either go way high, way low, figure it out, and decide what line you like. Bobby?
Well, Ray, right now, the fastest car on the racetrack is the car directly behind him, or at least the spot behind him. The 25 of Max Gresham is closing in quick. Max just came on the radio and said, this is the best the car has felt all day long. And Billy Venturini, his crew chief, said, hey, listen, we're still waiting to get to the end of this race. Trouble for Grant Enfinger, a top 5 guy in points on the racetrack.
Yeah, you know, a guy I'd be getting a little annoyed with, maybe you can get by him right here, is that 51 car.
Oh, trouble.
Oh, my gosh.
They're checking up behind and into the...
That's Clay Rogers in the 42 car.
Yeah, 2 cars got into each other as they were slowing down on the racetrack. Clay Rogers stops. You see the brake duct.
Yeah, that's the blower motor and the whole brake duct right there.
Chad's just going to leave it there.
Take another look at what just happened.
Man, just trying to squeeze by.
Yeah, Clay was in the outside wall. That was Rob Brent that came along in the 2 car.
And Rob was way down on the apron, it looked like, and Clay came down on him.
Doesn't appear to be a whole lot of damage to Rob's car. A little bit of the front splitter damage. Is that Rob Jones in the 23 car as well? That's Levi Euster.
Levi Euster
in the 23.
42 got the worst of this deal.
'36 was 7th when he blew his engine. That's Enfinger, who was slow on the racetrack. Kent Schenkel will get the Aaron's Lucky Dog, get a lap back.
Kent grabbed us in the garage here and said, I didn't retire. And here he is. He gets an Aaron's Lucky Dog.
That's right. Look at all the damage.
Wonder what the trend says about that long green we were talking about.
It's going to have to happen pretty soon with just 34 laps to go.
You know, DW, from the looks of this car, right rear tire may have
Looks
gone
like
down.
the right rear, yeah.
That may keep us from getting that long green flag run. And we're also getting a report from upstairs in the control tower that there may be some raindrops now coming down on the racetrack.
But it's not foggy.
At least it's not foggy.
It's not foggy.
Definitely not foggy. Field making their way onto pit road. Bob.
Chad Hockenbraugh will bring that number 58 machine onto pit road. It'll be 4 tires and fuel for him and 1 round on the track bar. The 25 of Max Gresham currently second. He pulls in his pit stall right now, and that'll be a slight air pressure adjustment on the right rear. Still a little bit too loose for Max Gresham. Right?
A Last pit stop for the 33 had scuffed tires on. This will be sticker tires going on for Cale Gale. Harvick telling him you'll be able to arc this car a lot harder. 58 goes by him, 33 there. So it looks like Hockenbraugh will get the position over the 33 of Cale Gale.
See Ty Dillon's pit work continuing there. He's in the first pit stall. The white and blue number 41. He is able to come out in the third spot. Looks like Tim George will come off in fourth.
Casey Roderick couldn't get off of pit road very quickly that time in the 51, and he's a few laps down. This is the reason for our fifth caution of the day here at Michigan International Speedway. Stay with us. More racing higher on speed. Sunday, NASCAR's ultimate pre-race show marches into Michigan. Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch join us live. Plus, we'll analyze how Jeff Gordon's career stacks up against the rest of the 84-win club. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot from Michigan. Sunday, 10 Eastern, live on Speed. I want to watch that.
Yeah.
If you've got Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch on the same show, you think they'll be on the set at the same time?
I think they'll be in two different places. Maybe try to get them on the same stage, but I doubt it. But it will be fun.
I did want to report that Tom Hessert has been checked and released from the infield care center. We saw that hard contact for the 52 car.
Good and bad news, obviously. Good news that he's been checked and released. Bad news that he's not in his race car right now battling for the win here at Michigan. Brian Silas is out in front of this field. You've got Grant Enfinger in that 36. Seemed like he had a problem earlier. Bob, what was going on?
Yeah, big problem for the man that runs third in points right now. He's in the 14th spot right now, and he has lost high gear is what his team has told me. So that's going to spell disaster for his chances at a top 10 finish here at Michigan today.
Boy, you don't lose high gear.
Yeah, because it's one-to-one.
Yeah,
it goes straight through the transmission, so that's pretty rare.
Second and third is common, but high gear is very unusual.
Top four cars stayed on the racetrack on this caution flag. Ryan Silas, Joey Coulter, Josh Richards, and Bobby Gerhart. I think they may be planning on going maybe the rest of the way here. They know with 31 laps to go, though, they still have plenty of time. If we get a caution in the next 5 or 10, we're down now, DW, to only 17 cars on the lead lap.
I guarantee you that's Bobby Gerhart's strategy.
Yeah,
they go further on a tank of fuel than anybody.
Would he go 60 laps at Daytona, 63 laps at Daytona, or something like that?
Yeah, he gets Harry Gann and DW fuel mileage.
So again, Brian Silas out in front, Joey Coulter, Josh Richards, Bobby Gerhart, and Chad Hockenbraugh. They're your top five. Hockenbraugh was just on pit road. Next Friday, Orange County, California is home to the greatest collector car event in the world. That's Barrett-Jackson. And you can only see it on Speed. The finest, rarest, and most desirable cars on the planet are all in one place. All up for grabs. Watch the auction. That is live on Speed next Friday at 5 Eastern, only on Speed, your motorsports authority. Brian Silas, Joey Coulter, Josh Richards, Bobby Gerhart. They stayed on the racetrack. Chad Hockenbraugh was the first off of pit road, but we're hearing a little pit strategy there.
Yeah, Bob Dillner reported during the break that they called off 4 tires right in the middle of the pit stop, only went with 2, got them out with good track position. How about that 6, that Weaver Media Toyota for Brian Silas, Ray?
Yeah, and crew chief Trip Bruce said he really wanted to try to get off cycle with the other cars, and that's exactly what they've done here. They're in a position now to go the rest of the distance so they can make it to the end. They're planning on staying out, and they're playing the track position game. Bob?
Well, Ray, never give up has been the attitude of the two-time and defending World of Outlaws Dirt late model champion Josh Richards in that 15 car. He went a lap down early in this race, actually had a vibration left front of the car. They found they had a broken valve stem. Now they have fought back, and Josh Richards sits third on this restart.
We're going to see Josh Richards in some Truck Series races. He's going to run for Kyle Busch Motorsports.
Yeah, I think that 51 car is sort of a spoiler. I noticed him in the before this last caution. 7 laps down. But he's got a fast car, and he's been right up in amongst the leaders there. They probably want to be asking him to get out of the way here.
He's probably faster than the 4 cars up front right now.
He's very fast.
He'll probably get out in front of Brian Silas, I would think, and because he made a pit stop, he probably has fresher tires and be able to get out in front of those guys and maybe drive away while we wait for those other cars to get by those cars that stayed out.
Yeah, he was holding up, I think it was a 25 car just for that caution.
Pace car leaves the field back in the hands of Brian Silas as he works his way through the tri-oval. Green flag back in the air. Silas, Coulter, Richards, Gerhart, Hockenbraugh, your top 5.
See Roderick on the inside of the racetrack, not able to do anything. Joey Coulter now goes for the lead on the outside.
Coulter takes the top spot away in the top groove, and down the back stretch he goes in the lead.
It's going to get exciting if we get the third turn. There's the 33 is coming in a hurry. The 41's coming in a hurry.
Josh Richards go right to the bottom of the racetrack. Brian Silas does as well. Brian trying to get back by that 16 car.
Hockenbraugh in the 58. He also runs the high line.
Caution flag.
Caution comes out once again.
Got a couple cars, matter of fact, stuck in the wall back there on the back straightaway.
The 11.
That's Rick Clifton in the 11 car. And the 75 of Benny Chastain. Benny was carrying our onboard camera for the drive to end hunger.
That
looks like somebody got squeezed into the outside wall.
Has a look at somebody didn't know that they had a car on the outside of them is what it looks like.
There's Benny. He refires that car, puts it in gear. A lot of damage to that car. See if we can watch this now.
Come down
see
the
if
back
that 11
right
car.
Yeah, he just comes over. He didn't know that the 75 was there. The 11 car.
Yeah, pretty fortunate that was at the back of the pack here. Here's the 75 of Benny Chastain.
He gets a run off the corner here. Chastain does. He's going to come up on the 11. 11's going to come out like normal, what you would do. Probably would have been wise on Chastain's part to checked up a little bit so that when he saw that car moving over.
That's a situation when a lot of times you don't know who you're racing against. Rick Clifton does not have a great deal of experience here in the series, so Benny doesn't really know that much about him.
That's the worst place you can be in for the 11 car, because and Chastain is as well, because you're not sure if that guy's going to give you that outside or not, and it usually ends up in that kind of result.
He didn't, and this is the problem.
He didn't, and he did.
Yeah. He didn't, and he did.
Yeah.
So they'll make their way onto pit road. Aaron's lucky dog goes to the 23.
He was 2 laps down, so he's the highest placed running car, not on the lead lap, so he will get one of those 2 laps back.
I'll tell you one thing, this race is going to play havoc with the trends.
Yes,
because
we haven't had the long green flag runs that we've seen.
And normally we do here. Normally these guys get stretched out a little bit and they race pretty clean, but today has been one crash right after another for different reasons.
We've already had, what, 6 caution flags, and I think that's, what did we have last year, maybe 2, 3 caution flags?
Yep. 2 caution flags. And you see Levi making the way around the field. He'll get his lap back, or a lap back.
Yeah, between cut down tires, debris, and then guys just having problems, running over each other. Been a lot of caution flags.
One of the other trends that has happened before at this racetrack is first-time winners, and that trend may continue. Got a couple kids out there in front that might be able to grab their first win.
Joey Coulter, now he won a race last year here in the ARCA Racing Series. I believe he won at Berlin, Michigan. So the right state is not the right racetrack.
Right.
Hockenbraugh is sitting there in pretty good shape. I was thinking about his T-shirt.
A Hawk and what?
Yeah.
Joey Coulter will bring the field to the green flag next time by. Brian Silas running in the 2nd spot. Hockenbraugh, Josh Richards 4th. Cale Gale is 5th.
We saw Brian Silas. That was the first time we had really seen him since he stayed out on that restart. And he showed a lot of speed there. Joey Coulter was able to get by on the high side, but Brian fought back on the inside and almost got up to him.
In just a little bit, DW, you're going to have to head off because trackside is coming up. It's time for some Motor City mayhem. Make sure to tune in as Ryan Newman, Martin Truex Jr., and NASCAR Hall of Famer Bud Moore stop by the biggest party in racing. Don't miss NASCAR Trackside right here in Michigan tonight, 7 Eastern, only on Speed.
Keep an eye on that 11 car who's going to restart up front there with a lot of damage to that car.
Yeah, that car doesn't even need to be on the racetrack, really, Phil. Look at it. It's got parts. That's another debris caution right there. Yeah. They need to bring him to pits.
Bobby D.
I'll tell you what, Joey Coulter and that team feel very fortunate right now. Remember, they had that right rear flat tire and a well-timed caution right afterwards. So very excited to be up front. Joey Coulter, top 5 finishes in both Michigan races last year.
You see his Camping World Truck Series statistics there from this year.
The important thing is the last 2 times out, top 5 finishes for Joey Coulter.
Lights are off the pace car. It looks like the 11 of Rick Clifton's going to make a hard left turn and follow the pace car down onto pit road.
Good call.
Yeah, I'm glad he did, because he was going to cause another debris caution.
Joey Coulter bringing the field back to the green flag. Silas just behind him. Green flag back in the air.
Good clean restart for all the guys up front. Brian Solis, that 6 car, he's going to jump to the bottom of the racetrack. Look at that momentum that the 16 gets from the outside.
Cale Gale in the 33 rocketing by for second.
Yeah, he had the momentum. The 33 did.
So Cale Gale will close the gap now on the 16 of Joey Coulter. How much longer can Coulter hold off that 33? They're side by side for the lead at the bottom of the racetrack. Cale Gale will take the lead back.
He wants to get gone before that 41 car comes looking for him.
Yeah, the 41's having a little bit more trouble getting through traffic than Cale Gale did. He made some nice moves off of the turn 2 over there to get the lead, and he's gone.
Right on lap.
Guys, it is so fun being down here listening to the radio for these guys, because Harvick has been giving him instructions all through the deal. And just a moment ago he said, am I talking too much? Cale said, no, keep it coming, baby. And Harvick said, arc it in hard, go to that high side, keep it up to the wall, and we're going to win it.
Battle for the 3rd spot. Ty Dillon in the 41 to the inside of Hockenbraugh.
You could hear the Revelanders kicking in back there on the backstretch, and that's the shorter straightaway.
Yeah, we hadn't heard it down the back. Got fresh tires on these cars and are running fast. Fast laps.
Temperature continues to cool off. This racetrack's getting faster. Last
side
lap
by side.
Cale Gale ran a 38.89 last lap. But that has to be the fastest lap we've seen in this race.
By far.
Ty Dillon still hugging that yellow line, trying to take the spot away from Hockenbraugh.
That was averaging about 185 miles an hour, 78 laps into this race.
Yes, sir. It's good race pace right there.
Joey Coulter, and it's going to be 3 wide for the 2nd spot here in just a moment.
That's what drivers like about this joint right here, is you can get 3 wide like that with plenty of room to spare.
Now, which line will Ty Dillon fall behind? Hockenbraugh on the bottom of the racetrack. Joey Coulter up top. Ty Dillon running behind Coulter now as they go to 1.
Look at the speeds at the line. Considerably faster for Cale Gale. The rest of those guys are all 3 wide.
Well, they're back here. Yeah, they got dirty air, and this is why sometimes I say this joint is aggravating, because you can have a really fast car, but you can't get by people. You can't make the pass. Once you get by these guys, you can drive off and leave them, but it's just hard to get by them.
Hockenbraugh still trying to get by Joey Coulter. He's at the bottom of the racetrack. Coulter up top. Then Ty Dillon right in the middle in between the two, still trying to find a way by.
Okay, and here's what's happening to Ty Dillon now. As Cale Gale drives off into the sunset, Ty Dillon is saying, I've got to get by these guys. I got to get after him or he's going to win this race.
Yeah, he's got a sense of urgency right now.
Yeah. 20 laps to go.
Cale Gale has a 2.5 second lead right now over Chad Hockenbraugh in that battle for second.
And he's almost a second a lap faster while these guys are racing each other. He is
the gap.
Checking out.
Chad Hockenbraugh able to put a little distance between himself and Joey Coulter now, and we see Dillon drop back into the 4th spot.
Saw this a little bit at the start of the race with the 41 car. Only when 41's really been good is when he got out front and he had all that clean air on the nose. Seemed like the car was pretty quick, but not in traffic.
Tim George Jr. in the 31 just behind this group.
Ty able to take over that 3rd spot from Joey Coulter. There's Joey's Rip It energy drink right here, running into 4th position. That's Ty Dillon, the SKF Chevrolet in front of him. That's 3rd. Here goes Tim George, another RCR driver going to get by.
Man, he blew by. He put a Linda Ronstadt on him.
Tim George Jr. moves up in front of Joey Coulter. So Tim George Jr. up into the 4th spot. It is Cale Gale by 3 seconds over Chad Hockenbraugh, Ty Dillon, Tim George Jr., and Joey Coulter. We'll be right back with more here on Speed. Welcome back. Michigan ARCA 200 within the final 15 laps of this race. Cale Gale out in front by 3.4 seconds over second. And by the way, that now is Ty Dillon, who is in second. Let's see how he got that second spot away.
He moves to the outside. Chad Hockenbraugh pulls up to block him.
Yep.
And then Ty Dillon had some momentum, just drove it down to the inside. When they got down in the straightaway, it looked like they have a real high gear in that 41 car. Maybe the 58 was in the Revelanders, and Ty in the 41 car just drove right on by.
And once he clears the 58 car here, he's making time up. Right now, Cale Gale's running a 40-20. And Ty Dillon that time by was a 40-10. He's picking him up about a 10th a lap, but we only have 14 laps to go.
Here comes Tim George Jr. trying to take 3rd away from Hockenbraugh.
As Max Gresham, the 25 with him. That's a battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th right there. How about Max Gresham go all the way to the top?
I'll tell you, that Gresham car he was fast. I thought he was a guy that might be able to steal a win today, but they had trouble in the pits again today and got him behind.
Max Gresham tucks in behind that 31 as those stay 3 wide. 4th position on the racetrack. Hockenbraugh trying to hang on to the spot. It looks like Gresham's going to take it away from Hockenbraugh.
Tim George got hung in behind the lap car.
He got to pick the wrong line, man.
Bob, what's going on with the 58?
The problem with Hockenbraugh is the car is basically uncontrollable loose, as he said, coming off the corner. So that car has just gone to lunch here. Very, very loose on the racetrack as Max Gresham has gotten by him, and Max very fast on this racetrack, Ray.
And the problem for Tim George, guys, is that he's very tight coming off the corner, and I think that's sort of why it didn't work all the way down on the bottom. Yeah, he did bad lane choice, but also car's just way too tight.
Chad Hockenbraugh right now battling a real loose condition. He just needs to try to get this thing to the end. His best career finish was last week at Pocono with a 7th. He's running up in the top 5. He may lose that spot to Tim George, but he just needs to stay there.
There's a battle for 7th. Joey Coulter, Brian Silas. Coulter in the 16, Silas in the 6.
We saw Joey had gotten by Brian Silas very early after this restart. Now Brian's fighting back. Great run for Brian Silas in the Eddie Sharp car.
Working to the bottom of the racetrack. I tell you what, DW, I know that trackside is coming up here in just about 10 minutes, so we're going to say, first of all, from all of us at Speed, everyone who works with this organization, you have been the greatest representative of this sport, and we congratulate you on your Hall of Fame. Not induction yet, but obviously getting voted into that Hall of Fame position.
Thank you, Rick, and happy birthday to you.
Thank
Guys, I got to tell you something. I'm looking at Max Gresham's times right here. He's the fastest car on the racetrack by far. Happen to get a caution here late, that's the car that you got to watch.
Anything can happen. We've had a bunch of cautions. The trends are out the window for sure.
Bye-bye, boys. I got to go do track.
Congratulations, buddy.
Speed's at the line as they cross. With just 10 laps of racing to go, who is the fastest? Max Gresham is the fastest on the racetrack.
Over 1 mile an hour. Max Gresham is coming now. He's being shown 5 seconds behind. That's the gap between 2nd and 3rd right there.
A little bobble by Ty Dillon. That will enable Max Gresham to close the gap between 2nd and 3rd. Out in front, though, a big lead. 4.6 seconds. Cale Gale in front of Ty Dillon. Here's a battle for the 5th spot. Hockenbraugh on the high side. 4th spot. Hockenbraugh had it. Tim George Jr. is going to take it.
Remember, Chad's fighting that loose condition up off the corner. Tim George is able to clear him. Here's the battle for 2nd, side by side.
Ty Dillon on the high side. Max Gresham's going to take the spot away on the low side. Dillon's going to battle back on the outside, though.
I think that 25 car is so fast right now, but Ty has the momentum on the high side. Just really tough to get the bite down there on the bottom to complete the pass.
Inside of 10 laps of racing to go. Ty Dillon trying to hold on to that 2nd spot. Gresham trying to take it away.
Rick, remember, this is the first time Max Gresham has ever been on a racetrack like this. He does get that 2nd spot. He clears Ty Dillon.
Gresham's career best finish in the ARCA Racing Series is 15th at Salem, and he's looking for a 2nd here.
But don't forget, he won last year at Mansfield, Ohio.
Right. Here they come back to the start-finish line. And again, it was the 25 of Gresham that was the fastest last time they went by. But a big gap between Cale Gale and Max Gresham now, almost 5 seconds.
Inside of 10 laps to go, being shown right now 8 laps to go for Cale Gale. Those 2 cars are as fast or faster than Cale Gale, but there's not enough time without the help of a caution flag.
Cale Gale out of turn number 4 as he goes across the stripe. Again, a 5-second lead over Max Gresham. Gresham crosses the stripe. He is quicker than Cale Gale. He's still the quickest car on the racetrack.
That was almost 2 miles an hour that time for Max Gresham. If he can clip off another 4 or 5 tenths of a second each lap, he may get there.
We have 7 laps of racing to go. Again, 4.5 seconds separate our leader and 2nd place. A big gap between 1 and 2. Cale Gale trying to hold on. While they're up front, this is a battle for the 8th spot. Chad McCumbee in the 1. The 16 of Joey Coulter.
A real nice comeback by Chad McCumbee after starting at the back of the pack due to an unapproved tire change after qualifying.
McCumbee right down on the bottom of the racetrack, hugging that white line. Those two stay side by side for the 8th spot.
Chad's had 6 top 10 finishes in our 7 races this year.
Just 6 laps of racing to go. The difference between 1 and 2, 4.3 seconds. So the gap has closed a bit, but not enough with so few laps to go.
And we don't know if there was some debris on the racetrack right there. Here's our leader, Cale Gale. He may have backed off knowing that he has over a 4-second lead.
5 laps to go. Cale Gale crosses the stripe.
Trouble! Cale Gale's in the wall.
Cale Gale, your race leader, into the wall. Caution has not come out yet. Now the caution comes out, and out in front is Max Gresham. Cale Gale into the wall while he was your race leader. It looks like a right front tire problem for this car.
We know that we had a maximum of about 30 laps, it seems like, before we had somebody with an issue. Cale Gale had such a great race car. Here he is going down the front straightaway. I think he realizes something's wrong here. You saw a little bit of debris, and then the tire goes. He doesn't make real hard contact with the outside wall, but it's enough to take him out of contention for this win.
After a dominant performance, Cale Gale had led 72 laps of the 95 completed. The crew sees it and reacts.
Yeah. Bruce Cook, the crew chief there. Cale's going to refire, try to make it back.
Ray.
Guys, he knew something was wrong with that car before he even got off of turn 4. He had come on the radio and said, it's real pushy, something's wrong. And Kevin Harvick got on the radio and said, manage your throttle, enter a little bit easier. And before he could even get that sentence done, they were in the wall.
And Ray, I think he backed off because Max Gresham was beating him 4 or 5/10 of a second a lap. I still don't think he had enough time. I think he was playing it smart, but unfortunately the tire went.
Tire goes away, and that will leave a shootout at Michigan. Can Gresham get back to victory lane, and will Ty Dillon outdo him to the line? Together. Welcome back to Michigan International Speedway. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Messina Wildlife Management. Stop animal damage with Messina Wildlife Management, and by Aaron's. You don't need credit. All you need is Aaron's. Let's go trackside to Bob Dillner.
Rick, you got a feel for this guy. Cale Gale in the lead by a mile. And then all of a sudden, heartbreak. I'm glad you're able to manage a smile. How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's racing. It seems like 2011 so far for me has just been bad luck, you know, for whatever reason. But the Rheem Chevrolet was awesome. The thing was a lot of fun to drive. I had a lot of fun racing with Ty there, and a lot of fun racing on the top side. Kevin was on the radio coaching me a little bit through that, and Rick Corelli spotting for me. It happens, man. It's racing. But we're going to run Iowa here in 3 or 4 weeks, and we'll go back and get them.
Happy Harvick just came over and said, good job, bud.
Thanks, Bob. Now, the deal with the ARCA Racing Series, if they can finish the race in the advertised distance, which is 100 laps, they will do it, which means they have to give them the green and white on this lap right here. So when they come back by, they'll get the green and white simultaneously, meaning a 1-lap shootout to the checkered flag.
And remember, if the caution flag were to come out after that, we will try it over again. Then we will do a green-white checker. We will finish this race under green.
Out in front of the field, Max Gresham, Ty Dillon, Tim George Jr., Chad Hockenbraugh, and Chris Buescher has made his way back up into the top 5.
And remember, single file restart here in the ARCA Racing Series.
A reminder, folks, tuning in for trackside. It is coming up in just a few moments. You don't want to miss this. The shootout to find out who will make it to victory lane in the ARCA Racing Series. Coming through the tri-oval, it is green flag back in the air for Max Gresham.
Ty Dillon has a run.
Here comes Dillon to the inside right after they cross the stripe. Dillon takes the top spot away. What a great restart by Ty Dillon.
He was on the gas. He just has to keep that 25 behind him. That's the line Ty's been able to use. Arc that thing in.
The bottom of the racetrack. Ty Dillon goes coming out of turn number 2, then back up to the wall. Behind him, tires shredding, and it looks as though the 32 of Matt Merrill is going to have problems. Into the wall he goes. race.
We're still green. I think that's at the back of the pack. Nobody has to negotiate by.
The field made it past. Now a battle for the lead. Here comes Gresham trying to take the top spot away. Dillon blocks him up high. Down low goes Gresham. Dillon holds on for the win.
Win number 4 for Ty Dillon, and he did it on the restart. He was able to get by Max Gresham and gets win number 4 here for 2011.
Ty Dillon grabs his 6th career win in just his 11th start. Over 50% of his starts he's gone to victory lane.
What a nice shot. We saw him make an amazing move on the last lap at Talladega to beat 74-time winner Frank Kimmel. Max Gresham trying to win his first super speedway race here and comes up just a little bit short. Tim George brings the other RCR car home in 3rd.
And again, the ARCA Racing Series decided not to throw the caution because that accident happened back on the backstretch. Here is the start and the pass for the lead right after they crossed the stripe.
Yeah, Ty did a great job in this restart. Max did a good job too. It looked like maybe the gearing and the transmission may have won this race for Ty Dillon.
Moved to the bottom of the racetrack, able to get up to speed faster than Max Gresham, and he held him off all the way around this 2-mile super speedway.
Pretty impressive 19-year-old right there, beating a equally impressive 18-year-old.
There's Matt Merrill's number 32. Again, he had problems on the backstretch. Take a look.
He bounces off the wall. I think he had a tire going down as well. I think I saw the tire debris before he ever got into the outside wall.
Yeah, that was on the last lap, and as everyone was able to negotiate by, we stayed green, and that enabled Ty Dillon to win his 6th career race, 4th of 2011.
He's getting pretty good on the burnouts too. You know, we ran into Ty this morning and he really wasn't feeling very well. How about his crew though? You think they were a happy bunch?
And that's what you do when your car comes across first.
There's Scott Nassett right there, crew chief. A lot of experience up on that box. First time being a crew chief here at RCR, but doing a terrific job.
So the young man will celebrate in victory lane once again. He comes out of the car.
Just graduated from high school last week or 2 weeks ago.
Roar of the crowd. He'll grab the checkered flag and continue his celebration. A disappointing 2nd place for Max Gresham, I'm guessing, Bob D.
Yeah, shrugging the shoulders as he climbed out of the car and talked to his crew chief, Billy Venturini. Max, what happened on that final restart?
You know, I can't thank Venturini Motorsports enough first. This car was awesome all day, and I was for sure we had it there on the restart. Just got got outdone a little bit there on the restart, and Ty beat me a little to the corner, and if I would have had one more lap, I would have got back by him, but just ran out of time.
Is there something you could have done differently to keep him at bay?
I probably could have run 3rd gear, maybe a little bit farther, but I really don't know what I could have done different. I jumped him out of 2nd gear. I really don't know. He just got a little bit better power than we got, and you can't beat power.
Guys, he still manages a smile.
A 2nd place finish for Max Gresham. Again, Dillon grabs victory once again. Tim George Jr. comes off of his first win in the ARCA Racing Series a week ago and backs it up with a 3rd place finish here.
Chad Hockenbrough gets his best career finish and first top 5 of his career with a 4th place run. Good job for him. Chris Buescher bites back to a top 5. And how about Brian Silas? Great run in the 6th spot.
Frank Kimmel, another top 10 finish for him. Bobby Gerhart gets a 12th place finish. Grant Enfinger, problems with that 36, finishes 14th.
Good finish for Tom Birdie in 13th. Actually, the 4th Venturini car.
Casey Roderick in the 51. He was 7 laps down, but that was a linkage problem that he had. Let's go back trackside to Bob Dillner.
I'll tell you what, Chad Hockenbrough, everybody is going to know how to pronounce his name shortly here in ARCA. A 4th place finish. Are you happy with that?
I think we're extremely happy. You know, we had a possibility to win there, Chicago, and to come back here and come off Pocono with a 7th, and came here and we were looking for a top 5, and we took 2 tires on that one stop, and got us back out and got in the lead for about a lap, and then the 33 just blew by us, and it's a shame that happened to him, but got us a 4th place finish here.
A little too loose for Hockenbrough, but he gets his first ever top 5.
Thanks, Bob. Grandfather Richard Childress celebrates. Austin was on the radio. He said, "That's amazing, Ty Dillon. He's my hero." Take a look at the point standings. Again, as this is the 8th race of the 2011 season of 19 races, Ty Dillon with a 210-point lead over Kimmel.
And essentially that means that's a full race, because you can get 200 points for a win here, plus bonuses for leading and plus bonuses for the top 3 in qualifying. But essentially a full race lead right now over Frank Kimmel.
And the 12 of Maryeve DeVoe drops out of the top 10 after having problems getting caught up in an incident today. Chad Hockenbrough up into the top 10, currently in the 9th spot. Ty Dillon making his way into victory lane.
That's the first thing he's missed today, was the entrance to victory lane.
That's right. Everything else has been spot on for that 41 team and Ty Dillon. Get a reminder, trackside coming up next. We do want to hear from our race winner, as Ty Dillon has brought it to a stop. And guess who's going to hand him that checkered flag once again? Grandfather, Richard Childress.
That's GS2, grandson number 2.
That's right. I'm not sure Richard would like to rank them, but he's got some pretty impressive grandsons behind the wheels of the race cars and race trucks that he's put together for them.
That just means Austin's older. That's why he's GS1.
Okay, I'll give you that. Ty climbing out of the race car. Let's go to victory lane.
How about 3 consecutive wins for Richard Childress Racing? This one in some spectacular fashion. Ty, the next to the last restart, the 33 got away from you big time. How concerned were you that you were going to have a shot to get back to the front of this field?
You know, when he got by us, he did an awesome job getting around all that traffic on that restart, and he got way out there. And I was just trying to save my stuff and do what I can, and the 25 crept on me, and he was really fast. He got by me, and that worried a little bit, but I just stayed patient. These ARCA races tend to have a lot of cautions right at the end, so it's the second one that's happened like that with the leaders blowing the tire, and we've been the fortunate situation out of it. And these guys just built an awesome SKF Chevy. It was so fast. What a blast to drive. They did an awesome job on pit row. I'm so happy right now, and I'd like to thank my dad and tell him happy Father's Day.
How about 4 wins on 4 very different racetracks already this year?
Yeah, it's just it goes out. It shows all the hard work these guys on this team have put in. And it's any kind of place we go to, we can be fast and win races, and just stay patient, and it'll come to us.
All right, congratulations, guys. I'm pretty sure we're watching a championship in the making.
Ty Dillon in victory lane. His teammate here lines up on pit road. A 3rd place run for Tim George Jr. And Tim, you tasted the champagne last week in victory lane. How is this finish now a week later?
Yeah, that was awesome to get the win last week at Pocono and dedicate the race to my late friend Drew Hawkins. And another top 5 today. That was awesome. Applebee's, thanks a lot. Potomac Family Dining, thanks a lot. NOS Energy Drink. Thanks a lot, and congratulations to my teammate Ty Dillon. That's an awesome run, and you know, today I'm going to dedicate the race to my best friend in the whole world, Jimmy Marcus. He's getting married tomorrow out in Aspen, Colorado. I'm headed out there to see you guys. See you soon.
All right, that's Tim George Jr., his 4th top 5 in the last 5 races, guys.
Moves up a spot into the 7th position as far as point standings. Chris Buescher moved up 1, as did Chad McCumbee into the top 5. All smiles in victory lane. Phil, I tell you what, very uncharacteristic of Michigan. We saw shorter green flag runs here this year.
We really did. I think we had an issue where the tires would only go so far, so that's why we didn't have the real long green flag runs. But Ty Dillon, they had great strategy. Flash, Scott Nassett on the pit box had a great strategy, and he did an awesome job on that last restart. Remember, only a 1-lap restart. Had it been 2 laps, it may have been a different story.
Cale Gale was the dominant race car for much of this race, but when the right front tire goes away as he's going into turn number 1 leading this race, that opened the door for the 41 of Ty Dillon to make an impressive run and get the win, his 4th of the 2011 season. Stay tuned. Coming up next, it's Trackside right here on Speed.